Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back to the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me, as always, coming to you from ESPN 97.5, 92.5. And guys, we ready to do this thing, man. We ready to do it like it's supposed to be done. Make all them suckers bow down out there. Hey, man, I'm ready. I'm ready because I'm excited. I'm excited for a brand new week. I woke up this morning, man. I looked in the mirror and I said, man, I'm still here. I'm still here.
Still here.
Let's get it done. Let's get this thing done, man. How you feel, man?
I'm feeling good, Book. We had a great weekend. Saturday, of course, at the World Gym Arena. Had an awesome show for reality wrestling. And then yesterday, we did the Mother's Day extravaganza over here at the Gilmore household, celebrating mom and sister and everybody else. What about you? Did y'all do anything special for the M Day, for the Mother's Day?
You know, just kicked it around the house. I made Charmel and mom some lobster and shrimp salad, which was awesome. You know what I mean? Put it on the grill, put some of that Old Bay on it, you know, make sure I had to get plenty of butter on it, plenty of butter, make sure they came out nice and juicy and moist. So yeah, man, I haven't had my fill of it yet. I still got a few pieces of lobster and shrimp in the fridge. I thought I might hook it up tonight. You know what I mean? So yeah, but I think I did a good job. Yeah,
you made it work, made it happen. Mother's Day. Well, shout out to all the moms out there. Y'all got y'all's day, but we should celebrate you all the time. Anything else from the weekend, Book, that we should get into? There's some.
No, man. The one thing I think we definitely got to get into right off the back. Of course, we got our sports and entertainment part of the show. You know, of course, we got to talk about a little WWE. May even talk about a little AEW. But the one thing that has definitely been on my mind that we got to touch on is that damn James Harden. This dude, man, he ain't coming back here. He's not coming back here.
Well, but that's what the rumor is. He's on his way back.
The rumor is he may be a free agent. Somebody. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But this dude, man, has been a bust. This dude has been a bust. He's not a big game player. You can't put him in pressure situation and expect to win. It was like that here in Houston. Everywhere he goes, he seems to not be able to play in big situation, and that's a problem. That's a big problem. I was listening to Stephen A. this morning, and Stephen A. said he was quoting that James Harden has the worst playoff stats in NBA history. You believe that?
I didn't hear that. I can't. Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't not believe it, but yeah, sure.
Worst playoff stats in NBA history. This guy, he said James Harden should shave his beard just so he could hide.
I saw that.
That's a good one.
That's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's pretty funny.
That's a good one, right?
It was an abysmal performance by him in a Game 7, which is all too familiar with us Houston Rockets fans. And you know what? It is very hard to figure out why, other than, like you said, in a big pressure playoff situation, the pressure just gets to him because he's amazing during the regular season. And for the majority of go back in the playoffs, including this one, in the majority of the early rounds and the majority of most games in every series, he's really, really good. But in the games where it counts the most, he is abysmal. And abysmal doesn't even begin to describe it. I mean, he is off charts. It's almost like you've seen the movie Space Jam from back in the day. You ever see Space Jam?
Yeah.
You know how the aliens take all the talent from the players and then they can't do anything? Yeah. It's almost like the aliens take James Harden's talent in Game 6 or Game 7 of any playoff series. He's inexplicably bad.
Hey, man. Well, we don't want him back here.
Well, we're not even in the playoffs, so actually it would be great for us because maybe he would just give us good games during the regular season.
Bro, look here, man. That's not good. Thing is, if we ain't winning in the big part of the season, which is playoff season, ain't no use of playing the game. They don't.
I hear you.
They don't give out second place trophies in the NBA. They give away that one big trophy, that one big one, and you got to win a championship to get it. So my thing is, we don't need someone like James. I think if James Harden came back to Houston, the morale of this city would plummet as far as basketball go.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you can get much lower than it is now.
I mean, right now we're in a rebuilding stage. I don't think James Harden is a part of that rebuilding stage. I don't think he's a piece, of that machine to actually make us grow. I think if James Harden was on that machine, it would make it worse. I really do.
Well, apparently there are two teams that are being targeted for the beard next season. One of them is Houston, which we've actually heard all year long that he's thought about coming back to the H. And the other one is the Phoenix Suns.
I like that. I like that.
I hate that for the Suns.
No. What I'm saying is I like him going to the Suns. That sounds good.
What is up? Well, you know what? Let's switch gears and talk about another NBA superstar. What do you make of Kevin Durant? Because Durant, sensational in OKC, goes to Golden State, wins the 2 championships with Steph, then goes to the Nets, complete bust over there. Not just him, just that whole organization, complete bust.
Yeah.
Then he goes to the Suns. You think that a team that already went to the finals without Kevin Durant would have a hell of a chance of getting there. Chris Paul gets hurt. Devin Booker does what he can, and they come up short against the Nuggets, and they get bounced out of the second round. Where does Kevin Durant go from here? I mean, it's kind of a crazy situation for him, and I feel like you look at him differently now.
I don't look at him any different. I mean, Kevin Durant, he's great. He's a great player.
Is he an all-time great?
I think so. But I just think Kevin Durant has been one of those players to where, just say, for instance, he's been able to rise to the occasion a lot of times on his own, but Kevin Durant is somebody that need a cast around him really to be great, to be able to get open. When Kevin Durant is isolated, him and just Devin Booker, it's hard for him to, really go out there and manage 4 periods of a basketball game. You know what I mean? He can't stay hot from point A to point B. It's no way he could do that every single night. And I just think the pressure has got to Kevin Durant more than anything, as well as he need a good barber.
Kevin Durant's hair has never been his
I'm just saying the brother need a stylist and a good barber, and I think that might help his feel a little bit, because right now he's not feeling it, Yeah,
I don't know what's going on with him. I really do think, yes, he's a great player. He is a great player. But when you go back and you look at him, had he not made the jump to Golden State after they won 73 games the season before, and he won those championships back to back, I feel like his legacy is completely different. And I feel like he's in the same conversation as James Harden or Russell Westbrook.
It's different how?
He's in the same conversation as James Harden or Russell Westbrook, as a really good player who doesn't have enough to get it done.
You're talking about who?
Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant. If he didn't win those 2 championships with the Golden State Warriors.
Look here. Just don't just say, for instance, Kevin Durant wasn't on that team and Golden State didn't win those 2 championships.
They were in the finals
the
year prior, and they won the year prior to that.
That doesn't make them a winner.
They won another one without him.
That don't make. Look here, did Kevin Durant contribute on those teams?
Absolutely.
Did he pull a James Harden on those teams?
No, he contributed.
So what I'm saying
if James was on those teams, they would have won the title too.
I don't think so. I mean, you never know. You never know. You just can't say that. That's like saying a guy's going to win.
No, you can. Because you look at the rest of the league.
He's got a better record. That's just not the way you look at it. If you got a ring in this business, you're a made man. Kevin Durant is a made man. I think Kevin Durant's stats, points alone, makes him a Hall of Famer.
I think he's a Hall of Famer. That's not the conversation.
What's the conversation?
The conversation is, is he an all-time great that could lead a team?
You telling me Kevin Durant is in the same conversation as James Harden? That's what you're saying?
I said without those 2 championships, he would be in the same conversation.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because he's never folded. He's never been a quitter. He's never been a guy that just let his whole.
He's never folded.
He's never been a guy that's just let his whole city down. I don't see that.
I'm not saying he let his whole city down, but he's let his team down. I mean, because as the leader of the team, you got to see him through.
I mean, you can't win every game.
You can't win every game. How come he's never won everything without the help of Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green.
Okay, see who he was playing with.
Russell Westbrook, another all-time great.
Are you kidding me?
Russell Westbrook's an all-time great player.
Hell no.
I think he was in the top 75, wasn't he?
This guy go out and shoot. I mean, he's missed way more shots than he's hit.
Now.
You know? Well, now, even back then, I mean,
back then he was
who else was on the team? Who else was on the team?
James Harden.
Like I said, another selfish player. So how can you win in that
Kyrie Irving.
Okay, and then he go where? To Nets.
Brooklyn.
Okay, what was the situation there?
Well, he had Kyrie.
Okay, so you
great player
dealing with a dysfunctional team, and you throwing the blame on Kevin Durant?
I didn't say it's solely on Kevin Durant.
Kevin Durant.
I said Eddie Davis. If he didn't have those two titles, he'd be the same conversation.
Kevin Durant was in the bubble. He was working. He didn't miss no games.
But they didn't win that year.
Still, what's the reason they didn't win?
Was he in there?
Kyrie Irving was at home.
You're talking. Yeah, we're going to get the vaccine.
I'm just what? How can you win with that dysfunction of a team? But you
can't. But when it gets hot, you leave.
When he go
like he did for the Suns, and then he loses again.
On
a team that already went to the final.
I don't look at it that way. When you're in this game right here,
I like Kevin Durant, but I'm just saying.
After you won a championship, it ain't. Look, me personally, it might be more about the checks. It might be, let me go get this money. I got a championship. It may not be about that for Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is one of the all-time greatest players that ever played this game. He's one of the all-time greats. He really is.
Great player. I agree.
And I'm going to tell you right now, he's leaps and bounds, head and shoulders above a James Harden. We got to take a break. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
Will Allday versus Cameron Cole. Texas champion versus Reality of Wrestling champion. Years in the making. Ex-best friend versus ex-best friend. I know what I'm getting into. I know you're one of the most exciting, high-flying wrestlers in the business today. And for every punch you have, Will, I know the counter punch. Long ago, the years where we used to train together. And I remember every move. I remember everything in your arsenal, Will. So what is it gonna take? You see, for me, I'll do whatever it takes, and you're gonna find that out, Will.
Will Allday versus Cam Cole once again. But this time it's gonna be different. It's not gonna be best friend versus best friend now. It's not gonna be me looking in your eyes knowing that at the end of this, we just wanna see who the better man is. Yeah, let's talk about that match. And Cam, I knew getting into the ring with you then, how good you were. Cam, I know now that you're even more dangerous. But Cam, you strayed. Ever since you and I faced in that last match, a year ago, something changed. And you started walking down this dark path where you would do anything to win, Cam. And you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like weakness.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Just talking a little James Harden, man. James Harden, he blew it. Blew it again, man. This guy's a loser. He's a loser. You need to
what does it say about the MVP of the league, though, Joel Embiid?
Hey, man, it just say, bro, it can't say, look here, when you got someone, you can't say nothing about Joel Embiid when you got somebody like James Harden out there on the court with you.
You're saying that the MVP of the league takes no responsibility for getting bounced in the second round?
I mean, he's a guy who's come up short in that situation. He thought he had a player on his team that was going to help him out, help him get to that position. One thing about this game, man, it's five people out on the court. One person can't. You try to put one person out on the court and see what happens.
So how does James hold all the responsibility?
James, look at James Harden's stats.
He's just one guy.
Yeah, he is. But when you're a guy that's controlling the ball and looking to control the game, and you can't do neither, you got a problem. This guy looked like a high school player. This guy looked like a guy who had never played in a championship game before in his life. This guy looked the same guy that was here in Houston. And then we talk about James Harden when he's hot. Man, don't nobody care when he's hot. And we'll be talking about the same thing if Michael Jordan was one of those type of guys who went out there and played great in the season and then got to the championship and folded and quit. We'll be talking about the same things.
Well, I'm not in
We're
disagreement.
talking about the same thing with LeBron James. LeBron James got to that point and quit and didn't take his team to the next level. This guy has been the franchise, the face of companies. He's been the guy that's had that franchise tag on him. Has he ever played like a franchise player?
Well, yeah, but to go back to what we were saying, not when it counts.
Are you kidding?
Not when it counts in the playoffs.
Who cares when it don't count?
He was the MVP. You got to say he played like a franchise player.
Look here,
he got us to the Western Conference Finals.
He was MVP just because of what I was talking about when he became MVP. He didn't give a damn about the team. All he cared about was the stats.
Well, stats are what they are. I mean,
well, what I'm saying is,
if you want to talk about if
this guy was willing to pad his stats for the sake of the team.
Well, okay, you can make that argument.
It's true.
It's true. Well, I can respond if you would let me.
I was willing to pad his numbers, and that's all.
So tell me,
that's sacrilegious in the basketball game.
Okay, well then tell me, if he's not a franchise guy, how did the Rockets get to 8 straight playoff appearances, the most in team history, when he joined the team? He joined the team for 8 years in a row. They made the playoffs. They were in the Western Conference Finals. They were 1 game away from the finals, but he's not a good player.
Look, it ain't that hard to make the playoffs.
Well, tell that to the teams every year that don't make it.
It ain't that hard. It ain't that hard to make the playoffs, man.
Okay.
We made the playoffs every year with 𝐒𝐤 𝐷𝐿. You know what I mean?
Not 8 years in a row.
I mean,
and 𝐻𝐤 and T-Mac was a great team.
Yeah,
that was a great team. We had the streak though during that run.
Yeah.
Was it 08?
There was a lot better team than any team that James Harden was on. I can tell you that.
Well, okay, you can make that argument. I mean, we went to the Western Conference Finals on a couple occasions, and we're a game away
from winning. It real, man. I know you're a James Harden buyer.
No, but you're putting me in this. You're putting me in the position.
I know you want to be in that James Harden bag. You want to go to the party. You want to go to the party. You know what I mean? You want to get on the bus. You know what I mean? And go.
I don't. But you're putting me in the position to defend somebody who I'm already in agreement with you is not who disappears during the playoff games. But the 3 guys that we've talked about, Russell Westbrook, Kevin Durant, and James Harden, who all did go to the finals together as the Oklahoma City Thunder losing to Miami, they are all top 75 players of all time, according to the NBA. All 3 of them. All
right.
Top 75 all time.
Okay,
all time.
Westbrook is not going to be my first choice.
He's not first on the.
Neither will James Harden be, in my top, 10 pick or anything like that.
He's not in my top 10 either. But
I'm just saying. So if you're not, in that conversation, if you're not winning championships, if you're a guy that, just look here, he's labored, man. He's labored at every chance he's had. He's literally folded every chance he's had.
So where do you put?
Has been given opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. I'm not just going to sit here and say, "Oh man, he's the greatest player I've ever seen."
He's not.
He's a guy that's really contributed a whole lot, other than winning the MVP. You know what? When you win the MVP trophy, do the whole team get one?
No, the individual gets
one. Exactly my point. That's exactly what I was. That's what I thought. I was just making sure.
Well, yeah, it's the most valuable player, not the most valuable team.
I'm just making sure.
The most valuable team wins the NBA Finals.
No, exactly. You know what? You just.
I'm not making your point. I know you think that I'm making your point.
You did.
I'm not making your point.
My point for me.
No, I'm not.
Everybody out there listening, they get it. You just made my point for me, Brad.
I don't know how.
Thank you very much.
I don't know how.
I appreciate it.
But again, you're not okay. So does Kevin, out of the Phoenix Suns,
well, look
who's
here,
the best player on who's the best player on the
Phoenix
Suns? Who's the best player on the Phoenix Suns?
Give me this here.
Is it Kevin Durant?
Tell me this.
Is it Kevin Durant?
Why are you bringing up Kevin Durant when we talking about James Harden?
Because they both got lost. They both got bounced out of the game in round 2. And they're both the favorites in those series.
Apples and oranges, man.
My gosh. No, I'm talking about both former MVP candidates who've gone to the finals.
What are we talking about? This is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
I mean, Kevin
I'm
Durant,
sure a lot of people share that
Durant
sentiment.
ain't got nothing to do with this. That's ridiculous. Let's move on, man. What's going on in the news?
What do you think about Chris Paul? No,
Nah, Chris Paul, I got a lot of respect for. Chris Paul,
I love Chris Paul.
I got a lot of respect for Chris Paul. I can't blame Chris Paul for being injury prone. Okay, that's something that's that's inevitable. That's something you just can't get around. And this guy, he's gotten hurt just about every time he's gotten a chance to really do something. As well as the older you get, the more recuperatory time it's going to take to get back. So my thing is, he's been a warrior, man. Chris Paul has been a warrior. He's been a leader. That's something I can say about Chris Paul. He's been a leader on the team. That's something I can't say that about James Harden. Well, I can't say James Harden has been a leader on his team. Just because he got the T on his jersey, that dude has never been a leader on the team. He's never put the team on his back.
I don't disagree with you there.
Let's put it a promise way. He's never been that guy. That's why I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater. I'm not a James Harden hater, man.
But let me ask you this. This is actually serious. I know we have about a minute and a half left before we go to break, or a minute. Ja Morant. What do you think about what's going on with this guy?
Getting his ass for the season. We don't need to see. We shouldn't even be talking about Ja Morant until he gets some sense. Because this guy's in a hell of a position. I've been in that position before myself, and I always wanted to make sure I was a role model. I always wanted to make sure the young guys that was looking up and watching me and aspiring to be like me one day would look at me and say, man, this dude, he's straight up. He's straight up. But this dude here, he know about this gun thing that we got going on here in America. And for him to be in such a high-profile situation, be one of the top NBA players in the league, this dude is bad. He's bad to the bone to be doing stupid stuff like that. Just let you know, he don't want to lead a hood. He don't want to lead a neighborhood. He said, you can take the neighborhood out of the kid, but you can't take the kid out of the neighborhood. Ain't that the way it goes? Something like that. I think that's what that dude is going through more than anything. He's got that Aaron Hernandez complex. He need to fix it. Otherwise, he might end up exactly what Aaron Hernandez did in prison. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
I am the Rocket, Josiah John. I'm training at Reality of Wrestling. I've wanted to be a wrestler since I was a little kid, since watching it with my dad for the first time and seeing guys like Booker T wrestle. That's when I knew that's what I wanted to do. So I just had to take that leap, take that drive, and chase some dream. The greatest thing about Reality of Wrestling is all the knowledge that's here. From all the trainers, Ryan Davison, Brian Key. I am the Rocket, yeah. One day, Booker T just called me Rocket.
Man, I got to give him a cool name, man. And Rocket is just something that stuck out with me. And I think that's something that's going to stick with him for a long time. He had Rocket on his shirt. I don't know if you noticed that, but he's definitely falling into it, man. And he's really buying into what this thing really, truly is. And if he could just keep his mind on point and stay focused, he definitely could do something in this business.
I feel like I've been doing really well training here. Just coming as much as I can. Come early to work out before the actual training. We have like a whole gym for people to work out. What would I say to somebody that's on the fence about joining Reality of Wrestling? I would just tell you, just take the loop. Because everybody here is going to take care of you and help you get to where you need to be. You can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Shub! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame. Yeah, man, Ja Morant, man. Ja Morant is a special talent, man. The kid is unbelievable on the court.
Incredible.
Definitely star. But off the court, dude has some serious problems. And what's crazy is about this situation is, everybody's been talking about it. This fool, TMZ didn't catch him. He's posting this stuff himself.
He did it on himself, man.
This boy, riding with him. They posted on Snapchat. Stupid. How stupid is that? But I don't know, man. Something needs to be done about it because there's too many kids getting killed today because stupid people want to do stupid things.
And this isn't the first time he's had an instance like this. Ja, like you said, he is a special individual. when you see him on the court, man. He is a special individual, but for some reason, I don't know why he continues to find himself in these positions. And you know what? I do know what the reason is. He didn't have the right people around him. You know what I mean? He didn't have the right people around him. Yeah, sure, he should know better himself. But a lot of times, if your boy's there with you, your boy's supposed to be looking out for you. Hey, bro, we can't do this anymore.
Sometimes though, you don't want the right people around you. Sometimes you want that hood life. You want to still be like, hanging out in the neighborhood, hanging out with that same crowd that you grew up with because that's what you used to. You don't want to, experience, what it's like, on the other side. You just want, the money and being able to do what you want to do from, having all of that, access. But my thing is this dude, he's going to find himself in a world of hurt because NBA is that league. It don't play. It would, wash their hands very, very quickly of you. And the thing is, it ain't going to bother him or anything. He already got the money. He can go. He can always go back to the hood, and that's a lot of times a lot of the mentality right there, man. I can always go back to the hood. You know what I mean? I got this money. You know what I mean? I can do whatever I want to do. But I tell you, man, it's sad. It's sad to see this young brother put himself. And I say it all the time, and I've talked about it all the time, as far as we as young black men. Being in just like, say, for instance, in my business, in the wrestling business, a lot of times when a black guy got knocked off, he put himself in position for something to happen to him, and boom, somebody blackballed him and got him washed out. You know what I mean? And I always say, man, you cannot put yourself in those situations. You know what I mean? Like I always said, coming up on the road, I never could tell on myself. You know what I mean? So I never would hang out with anybody that might go tell on me. You know what I mean? So you got, and what I mean by that is you got to be watching your back all the time, and you don't know who your friends are. You don't know who your friends are. You don't know who your enemies are at the same time. For me, just say, for instance, when I got into the wrestling business, same vices. I came straight from South Park neighborhood right there in the middle of Houston, and it wasn't the nicest neighborhood in the world. And I had a lot of buddies that I hung out with and grew up with at the same time. And then when I thought about getting in the wrestling business, they was like, man, that's stupid, this, that, whatnot, and the third. And then when I got in the wrestling business, I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. But then I was hanging around a bunch of white guys. None of them black guys, a bunch of white guys. And I'm like, man, okay, this is fun, but how is this going to work out for me? And then I really got a chance to do it by, WCW opportunity coming. And then I say, man, what am I going to do here? What am I going to do? What I did was all of my friends that I perhaps thought were my friends, that I knew if I got into a situation, would I be able to call them and say, hey, man, I need some money, man. I need some help. No, I wouldn't have been able to do that. What I did was I left Houston, Texas. I left every friend that I had, everybody that I knew, and moved to Atlanta, Georgia. And I said, man, I'm going to get this thing a go. I'm going to put myself, I'm going to hit. I'm going to put myself in position to try to make this work. Now, I could have did that and then brought one of my homies up there to Atlanta with me to hang out, and then he went and got in trouble, and then he came back to me, and next thing you know, I got fired and everything. We wouldn't be having this conversation right now. What I'm saying is, do not put yourself in situation, because situation can happen to you, and that's what this kid Jai is going through right now.
Yeah, the thing is, he's not thinking about everything that this impacts, because he's already been suspended from the Grizzlies, from team activities for right now. This guy's got a Nike contract. He's got a Powerade contract. The NBA was trying to prop him up to be one of the next big stars and really put a lot of marketing dollars around him. He lost nearly, $20 or $30 million for not being on an all-NBA team. The only reason people don't want to vote for him is because of his out-of-the-court antics. And that stuff really matters with a brand. When you have a brand name behind you, everything that you do matters. Booker, you know that better than anybody, right? When you have a brand behind you, everything you do matters. And that's why I really wish there was somebody in his ear who could say, look, brother, you're about to screw up. You got a 1 in a billion opportunity, right? Not a 1 in a million, 1 in a billion shot to get generational wealth, right? For your family, for your kids, kids, and so on. And to do stupid stuff like that. And you know what? It really is the internet age. And I know I kind of come from it. Jaws in a generation a little bit after mine, but they really feel like the internet isn't real life and there are no repercussions. And the thing is,
what's the joy though? What's the joy? You're a multimillionaire,
right?
What's the joy of running around with a gun?
I have no idea.
Flash old camera to who and why? What's your audience right there? Who are you catering to?
I have no idea.
You ain't no gangster. It ain't like, and then real gangsters ain't gonna be doing nothing like that because they know the law looking. They know as soon as they get caught, the first place the authority is gonna go is to your website and see what you've been posting, stuff like that. And for this guy to be as high profile as he is, first incident, he was in a club. Am I right or wrong on that?
You're right. Yeah.
Posting a gun in the club. Now, I don't know what city he was in. I don't know what laws, you know what I mean? But it could have been, he could have been getting arrested. And how's that going to look? NBA player getting arrested for having a gun in a club. It's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense to me. I can't even wrap my head around it at all. But we talked about this though. We just talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
We just talked about this last show. Mental health is real.
Yeah,
it's real. This kid might be having some mental health issues. He's got to be. Everything can't be right up there as far as thinking logical. Okay, so that's a mental issue. Am I right or wrong? This is a multi-millionaire, one of the best basketball players in the world. So we got to get off this. We got to get off this mental issue and think about these guns more than anything. We got to think about this dude's mental issues. More importantly than anything, because I think he needs some counseling. I don't know. What does counseling go with a kid like that?
Counseling doesn't go anywhere if you're not accepting to it, right?
Exactly. Like
if you don't want to be in counseling, it's not gonna change you or change anything about your mindset or direction that you're going in. Again, it all comes down to the people you have around you. At the end of the day, that's so much. You're so much of a product of your environment.
Yeah, man, but some people don't want those kind of people around them. Just say, for instance, you know what I mean? They want to put a pastor around him. Maybe you don't want.
I'm not even saying a pastor.
A big brother. Maybe you don't want no big brother. You know what I mean? A mentor. Maybe you don't want. Sometimes guys like that, man, just play to the beat of their own drum. Like I say, Aaron Hernandez was a kid that had a $40 million contract. Okay, but he wanted to hang out with drug dealers. He wanted to hang out with gangsters. He wanted to have a gun. He wanted to shoot people. You know what I mean? Mental issue. CTE, perhaps, you know what I mean? But sometimes, man, these kids are just flying by the seat of their own pants, man. And someone like Ja Morant, I don't know what he's going through for a young kid to be in his position. All the honeys out there, he could be, all the hottie biscottis out there, he could be hanging. Did
you ever see that picture of him in the strip club that went around too? With all the money all over the floor, and he's just sitting there on the couch by himself. I don't know what's going on with him, man. I really don't. But you know what? If he doesn't get it together, he's going to have a hell of a time playing for the Shanghai Sharks. He's not going to be in the league anymore. They're going to say, you're going to have to go abroad, player. You know what I mean? That's what happens, though. That's what happens.
That's exactly what's going to happen. I hope it don't.
Me neither. I want him to do well.
I hope this kid figure it out because, like I say, he's a major talent. He's a special talent. And to see something like this kid just losing it all for me would be a loss for so many young black kids walking around, perhaps, wanting to be like this kid one day. So I hope he get his life together. I'm really hoping for this kid, man, because the road that he's going down right now, I don't wish that on nobody, especially a young kid of color. And I don't know what his background is. I don't know where he came from. I don't know if he was privileged or not or anything like that. But his talent is God gifted. What he does on that court is God gifted, and I hope he uses it for the right purpose. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
My name is Nathan Wasser, and I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I came down here to Reality of Wrestling to improve my training and get myself more experience learning from the absolute best. It's intense. It's hard. You got to leave your ego at the door and come in with an open mind. The way they do stuff here is the next level. But if you do that, you'll end up bettering yourself in the end, and you'll improve, and you'll be able to work anywhere.
Nathan, he's an unbelievably awesome student. I'll tell you why, right? For a few reasons. Number one, the man packed up all the way from the Great White North to move down here to the U.S. to train because he wanted to learn from one of the best. But what's even more impressive, on top of the fact that he takes care of his body, he works hard, is the fact that he was trained by a very reputable trainer and yet still comes down here humble, hungry, ready to work and ready to learn, and not coming in here acting like he knows everything or that he's too rigid in his ways.
Booker's knowledge will help you get to whatever goals you want to do if you want to be a big star in this industry. My end goal is to be in WWE. Coming down here to Reality of Wrestling, I feel is the best opportunity for me to get there, so I'm going to do whatever it takes. I can promise you, when you come to Reality of Wrestling, it will change your life. You will not regret it.
Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
What's up, guys? It's Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. We're just talking about a little sports and entertainment, a little basketball. A little bit of everything, man. When I say everything, I mean everything, man. But right now, man, I don't know, man. There's a whole lot going on in the world of sports entertainment right now. You ready to do a little something?
Yeah. We can move on here in just one moment, but we do have to acknowledge all of our super chatters. If you have a question that you want to ask the Hall of Famer himself or myself, it doesn't matter. You can super chat it on in, and we will read it on the show. We have to start, though, with one of our favorites of all time, the one and only Mr. 𝐒𝐤𝐚𝐥 𝐋𝐢𝐳𝐤𝐬.
Give us some Roni, brother. Oh, yeah.
𝐒𝐤𝐚𝐥 said, so I heard Vince McMahon has a till death do us part clause in his contract to remain as the chairman until the day that he dies. Who thinks of these things if true? Smart businessmen who make a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean, look, I ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? Till they put me in the ground, just forget about it. Let's not even think about doing something like that ever again. That's what that means. You know what I mean? So hey, I get it. I always say it, man. When it's yours, how somebody gonna tell you out when you built it?
Yeah,
that's a hard pill to swallow. You know, it really is. You know, so I don't blame the man for putting the clause in there and making sure he's solidified and, you know, in that position, you know, forevermore.
You know, I think it's smart. And I know probably some people who aren't huge Vince McMahon fans are going to argue against me, but it's smart for him and it's smart for a businessman. Look, if you're talent or you're meaningful to a company, or if a company really wants you in a position of power or in any position at all, if you can negotiate something like that for yourself, everybody would. You know, I remember reading a book about when they came to Jay Leno at NBC and they fired him from the Tonight Show. Pretty much said, Conan's taking your spot in 5 years. He renegotiated his contract because they wanted him to stay with the network, and he did something I'd never heard of. He got a pay and play contract, meaning normally it's pay or play, right? He got a pay and play, meaning you have to pay me every dollar in the contract and you have to put me on television. If you don't, there's all these kind of fines that come on top of it. If you can negotiate something like that for yourself, you better go ahead and try. And Vince did the same, and I think it's smart.
Hey, bro, true. I can't hate on him. I'm not going to do it. you know, I'll make sure when I'm in that position, I'm going to do something like that myself, you know.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
It's just smart business. Again, like, you know, you negotiate your worth and your value. And if people want you, you know, you can negotiate it. And I know Endeavor, a big part of Endeavor buying it was with Vince McMahon attached to it, you know, and no matter what you think of his creative output or even his personal situations, nobody knows the business of pro wrestling better than Vince McMahon.
Hey, bro.
That's just undisputable.
That's that clause, creative control, baby. Creative control.
Did guys really had that in WCW, right? Where they could just say whatever they wanted to do.
Hogan had it,
Hogan.
of course. I don't know if Hall and Nash. I don't think Hall and Nash had that, but I know Hogan had it. I think Bret Hart may have had something in there as well. I'm not sure. That they couldn't lose and stuff like that. Yeah. It's crazy.
Giving a wrestler creative control is it's pretty dumb. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's pretty stupid because if I had creative control in my country,
but you just said it though. When
if you can negotiate it, yeah.
If you can negotiate it because of the stroke you have with the people that's watching the show, the fans that's buying the tickets and the pay-per-view buys, whatnot. You got that kind of stroke. Man, you can move mountains, seriously.
Oh, and again, I do not hate on Hogan whatsoever for negotiating his salary or his contract.
Hogan came out and wanted to win the title tonight that I was supposed to win. When there's nothing I could do, I said, man, I'm gonna just get my stuff and go home. I ain't winning the belt.
Hogan wants it.
I'm serious. I said, I might as well just go home. He just pulled that card.
He did. Sorry, brother, not tonight.
No, he didn't talk to me about it. They just pulled that card. No, I'm winning tonight, brother. So but the thing is, I couldn't even be mad at him. I was disappointed a little bit, maybe, because it was my time, and Hope knew it was my time, and he was willing to step on me to actually, make it his moment. But a lot of guys that made it to that level has always been willing to do something that I talk about, and that's step on some toes and keep on walking. And that's what Hogan was willing to do that night. He was willing to step on some toes, be that as it may. It was me or anybody else. He wanted that night to be about him. Why? I do not know. But that was definitely something he had on his mind.
Look, man, again, well, you know what's actually interesting about Bash at the Beach 2000 is I think in my mind and in the mind of most wrestling fans, those two events are separated. The Hogan-Russo stuff we all talk about, but then we also talk about Booker winning the title almost as if it happened on two different nights.
You know what?
It's really weird.
I don't. I put those two nights together.
Well, I'm sure you do.
Just because I don't think my night would have been as big as it was without that moment.
Right. Yeah.
I needed that moment to happen just to make people really focus in on the guy who was, wait a minute, we did all of this for this guy?
Yeah.
Okay. The brother just came up. So for me, they definitely go together as far as I'm concerned.
But yeah, so to go back to Callie's question, yeah, man, if you can negotiate it for yourself, like you said with Hall and Nash, I remember them talking about that favored nation clause they had, where when Hall came in, Hall had a clause in his contract that he makes X amount, right? Just say it was 750,000. I don't know what the number is. I'm just making something up. And anybody who came in after him that made over 750,000, he got bumped up to their salary. So when Nash comes in and Nash negotiates 800,000, all of a sudden Hall's got 800,000. And I remember Nash talking about like, hey man, we started suggesting all kinds of boys that they should bring in and pay them X because we knew we'd get that money too. Bro. Yeah, bring in Bret Hart. Pay him a bunch.
Hey, I liked it. That was a good idea. They was giving away money like it was monopoly money back then, man. WCW, man. It was plentiful. It was plentiful, man. Plentiful, baby. And I tell you, man, it was a beautiful, beautiful time to be a part of the business, be in this business. I swear to God, man. It was like I say, I was making so much money, I was miserable.
You're trying to figure out what do I do with all this stuff? Where do I put it?
I swear, man, it was just like trying to manage it all and literally dealing with the accountant.
But see, and that's something.
Advisors, man, it was running me nuts, man. I said, God dang it, man, this making money stuff it's not fun.
It's expensive.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's what the stuff that they don't tell you, right? When you start making money, is they're like, oh yeah, well, guess what? Now you're in a new bracket. And with the bracket comes a higher tax rate, and it comes a higher this rate, it comes a higher that rate. And talent, like when you go into of any kind of field of entertainment, that's the last thing you're thinking about, right? You think about how much am I worth, sure, but you're not thinking about, wait, so how do I do that? What kind of account do I need? Oh, I need an IRA and a Roth IRA and a 401.
When I got audited by the government, that's when I knew I was making too much money.
I'm sure that wasn't a fun experience.
Bro, I was scared, man, like out of my mind. I was so afraid, man. But I mean, my account, took care of everything. Everything was there, I didn't have to, go to jail or anything. But it was definitely nerve-wracking to get audited from the government because of how much money I was making. I was like, wow, this is crazy. So more money, more problems. It's true. It really is true, man. Right now I'm just cruising. I figured it out as far as, the tax man and all that stuff and whatnot. But I swear, man, in the beginning, it was, man.
Right. Crazy. Now let me ask you about contract negotiations. Like when you would go to negotiate your contract, like wrestlers don't normally have agents or anything like that, right? So how would it start? Would it be like, oh, my contract's up in 6 months and someone from the office pings you?
I had an agent in WCW.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. I had an agent in WCW.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Who's your, oh, you don't have to say their name, but how did that work? They would just handle all the negotiation for you?
Yeah. In the beginning, he handled all of my contracts until I went singles. That's when I handled my biggest contract. I negotiated my biggest contract. And it was well above all the money that, my agent had ever negotiated for me. Sometimes twice as much, maybe 3 times as much. Yeah. And the way I did it was, I remember being asked, how much was it going to take to keep me in WCW? And I go, how much am I worth? And they came back with a number like well above what I was thinking about. God, man, you kidding me, right? So I was like, wow, they think of me that much. And actually, I mean, I could tell the number. It was 750,000.
Wow.
I was like, wow, man, I just negotiated my own contract. So.
And then you were like, 750 sounds good. $1 million would be better.
Oh, man. My next contract.
It's close to that, right?
It was $1.3 million.
Woo!
Yeah, that would have been, if the company wouldn't have folded, my next contract was $1.3 million. And wow. Yeah. And it was a great time back then. Eric Bischoff was making us all rich. And the thing is, he said he was going to do that. He said, Book, I'm going to make you rich. How much time we got left?
About 10 seconds.
Okay. He said, Book, I'm going to make you rich. We was in Japan. He said, just stick with me. And I was like, I'm going to stick with you. And but his goal was to make all wrestlers one day to be paid like NFL players. That was Eric Bischoff's goal. I give him a lot of credit for that. We got to go to, we got to take a break. Stick around, guys. We will be back in a momento.
How well do you think you know your wrestling? I've prepared some trivia questions right here for you. So let's go and take a look. How was that? I hope you did well. Now let's throw it back over to Brad and Booker for the Hall of Fame.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Just talking a little sports and entertainment, a little wrestling. and everything, all in between, coming to you from ESPN 97.5, 92.5, guys. Wrestling, man.
Yes. We have a few things we got to talk about in the world of wrestling. We have more super chats.
We got to talk about a couple of things. We'll get to super chatters.
Where do you want to go first?
One thing we got to talk about is Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Randy Orton, we definitely want to talk about Mandy Rose, perhaps the return of Mandy Rose, or perhaps the retirement of Randy Orton. Let's talk about Randy first, man. Randy's he's been off ever since dropping the tag team championships. RK Bro dropping the tag team championships. He's been off. I didn't know what Randy was dealing with, but Randy has always been a guy he's been very durable. He hadn't been a guy that has been injury prone or anything like that, and taking time off, but he's always dealt with like little ailments, like his shoulder. Always had a bad shoulder. He always had this thing, like this little flex thing he would use. I was seeing with that thing every day, working with it, working his shoulder, back issues, some minor stuff, But one thing about the business, we talk about it all the time. You're going to be hurt. You're going to be hurt all the time. It's just a hurt business. Being injured is something that's totally different. And obviously, he's dealing with an injury now because from what I was reading, the doctors are advising Randy Orton to not come back to in-ring competition. I don't know how true that is, but if it is true, I know what Randy Orton is going through. Doctor advised me same thing, not to return back to the ring because of neck issues from a full-time perspective. That's why I totally took an exit from the ring when I did because of curvature in my neck. Could get to the point to where it could start messing with the nerves, tingling in the hands, whatnot, numbness, and then it could lead to paralysis and whatnot. Doctor told me you can, stop. We don't have to have surgery. You can keep going if we do the surgery. So I chose, hey, let me take a step back. So I do know what Randy may be perhaps going through at this point in time. It's not easy. It's not easy to hear a doctor tell you that you got to stop doing something that you love doing. Also, you're going to say, man, now let me go get a second opinion. I got to get another, it's one of those type of deals, but I tell you, if this is the case, man, my heart goes out to Randy. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully we'll see Randy back inside the square circle again. But when doctors start talking like that, sometimes you just got to listen.
Yeah, it was his father who said, the doctors are telling him this, and he's trying to. I didn't realize that he'd been out over a year already. Over a year already he's been out, and I knew that he had kind of like an undisclosed back issue, but they didn't really say anything. And here's the thing: maybe it's one of those kind of situations where time off will actually help, right? If you go back to Shawn. Well, think about it. Just think about it. Shawn Michaels was out 4 years with a back injury and then came back and was arguably better than he was previously.
You know what? People can say that, but Shawn would beg to differ, I think. He made you feel like you were still seeing the same Shawn Michaels, the Shawn Michaels of old. But Shawn Michaels, you could, for myself, when Shawn came back, you could see he had lost a step. You can see,
I didn't see
he wasn't the same Shawn Michaels, but he was still able to go out there and through his magistry of being able to go out there and make you believe in something, being a great magician. That's what that's what that guy did back then. But Shawn had lost a step when he came back. That back injury is something that if you've ever had back surgery, you're going to tell the person that's perhaps thinking about it, don't do it if you don't have to. Seriously, because everybody that have had back surgery, neck fusion, there's no way you can come back and do this after having, those kind of procedures. It's no way. It's just no way you could do it. So like I say, for me, if it's true, man, take a step away and, you've had a hell of a run. You're a Hall of Famer, kid. You've done everything in this business, and it seemed like it happened overnight. But Randy Orton, he's a veteran now. I think Randy got 20 years in.
Oh, easily. Yeah, 2021, maybe
Yeah,
even.
yeah, yeah.
I think he made his main roster debut in '02, and I think he signed to FCW in 2000.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So Randy, he put in this, that's
Or
that mark.
OVW.
That's that mark we all look for. We always wish we could push it a little bit past that mark. And Randy seemed to have been one of those guys who haven't aged a whole lot.
Yeah, no, he looks the same.
He's still that same Randy Orton. Of course, he's gotten
More tattoos.
grizzle. He's gotten more grizzle. You know what I mean? He looks, a little bit harder. You know what I mean? But he's still Randy Orton. You know what I mean?
But you want to also talk about a guy who never lost a step. Randy, you cannot tell me if you look at a match with Randy Orton from 2021 and 2010 and then 2005, that guy always put on the same quality.
Yeah, Randy's a guy that you're not going to be able to tell when he loses a step. Also, just because of the way he work, the way he perform, everything's methodical. Everything is thought about. You know what I mean? Everything has a forethought. So with Randy, his movements was never too quick to where he had to, do anything but keep up with someone. So Randy was a very, very good worker, but he was a smart worker more so than anything.
I would hate for this. Look, no one gets to choose how they ride off into the sunset, right? Not everyone's Peyton Manning who wins the Super Bowl and retires. It's a 1 in a million that happens. Triple H just retired last year officially after, having the heart issues that he was having last year. Didn't get to have like a real last match, which is fine. Not everyone needs it. But it would suck for Randy to have to just go out without the pageantry, to know, hey, this is my last tour, brother. The way that I think like the Undertaker knew, like, hey, I only have a couple of these left. This is going to be it. Sometimes you want that closure of the situation. And I think that I still feel like we're going to have Randy back. But you know what? If it's against his health long term, I don't want him back.
Yeah, that's what me personally, like I say, Randy's, if we see him again, it's going to be great. But, I feel like Randy's, from a soldier's perspective, he's done his work, man. He's done his work. And like you say, it would suck to not be able to have that last run, and be able to go out on your own terms. That's the part that sucks. For me, I've had a chance to, get back in the ring and experience it a couple of times, after, the doctor told me I need to step away. But then the doctor told me, well, you can go do this one match. But then you got to step away again. But you can do this one match. but for me, I understand exactly what that doctor's talking about, because after the Rumble, I had like a little tingling in my finger, so it just reminded me that that problem hadn't gone away or anything, and if I was out there doing this on a regular basis, I could really be putting my life in bad situation.
Right. And that's not something that we ever want anybody to do, let alone, Randy Orton, yourself, or anybody. Like this thing's all about entertainment. And, that's what we want at the end of the day. But it's not worth anything more than that. That's why, like, when you have these moments where Edge can come back and go for a little series, or Daniel Bryan can have another run, like, it's always nice to have. But I never want to see anything like that if it's going to mean long-term impacts on the performer. Look at Austin. Austin had neck issues, and he stopped wrestling for 20 years before he did one match.
Yeah.
He did one match in the last 20 years,
I'm sure he felt like it, like he had been wrestling for 20 years after that one match.
That man was crazy. He took a suplex on the concrete. I said, this man is bold. He's bold.
But to do it, I might as well go all the way out, baby.
Golly, man. But it was an awesome moment.
Yeah, yeah.
So for Randy, I feel like we see him back. And if we don't, first-time Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time, top 75 all time. We were talking about that with the NBA last episode. Randy's top 75 all time, of all-time great wrestlers, and he's probably way higher than 75 when you really look at it.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, yeah. Randy's top 30.
Easy. All-time guy. He's an all-time guy.
Yeah.
He checks a lot of the boxes, like we always talk about, that list.
Yeah.
Iconic entrance, great music, great look, never out of shape, always on.
Multiple world championships.
Multiple world champions, one of the best finishers in the history of the business. He's the guy. Randy's the guy, man.
Uh,
And we'll see. We'll see what the future holds for him. I
yeah,
feel like
yeah.
he's back, but we'll see.
Like I say, man, I'm not gonna count him out or anything like that. But like I said, that neck injury, that C4, C5, and all. I heard Kevin Nash talking about that. It's about how his neck is getting worse again. I know he had that procedure done to it, a few years back.
Yeah.
But, he said his doctor, looked at another scan and said it's getting bad again. So stuff like that, man. You just don't want to mess with it because when you get paralysis, there's no reversing that.
No, that's it.
Part sucks right there. That happened to Paul Orndorff. He had nerve damage and it messed with one of his arms, and he never could reverse that process. So it's definitely not something you want to mess around with. We've got to take a break, guys. We've got to take a break. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
How well do you think you know your wrestling? I've prepared some trivia questions right here for you, so let's go and take a look. How was that? I hope you did well. Now let's throw it back over to Brad and Booker for the Hall of Fame.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We just chopping it up. Doing a little something, talking a little wrestling. I know we probably got a few super chats, but we'll get to them in just a second. Mandy Rose may be contemplating a return to the squared circle, maybe coming back to the WWE. That's just a rumor. It's just a rumor. I saw it posted something. It was short, it was quick, it was sweet. But right now in the cycle, people talking about Mandy Rose may be coming back. What's crazy is so many people, like when Mandy Rose was the champ, so many people hated on Mandy Rose. And then as soon as she left, so many people loved Mandy Rose. And that I can't wait for her to get back. Me personally, I've always was, one of the latter. I always loved Mandy Rose. It's just tough enough. Watch how hard she worked to get a shot at being a part of the WWE roster. She didn't even win the contest, but man, she went all out as far as trying to pull that thing off. And I gave her a whole lot of credit. And then to make it to the main roster, and that thing didn't work out for her. And then to go back and recreate herself in NXT, man, she did a hell of a job. I tell you, Toxic Attraction was the talk of the town, the talk of NXT for so long. And then what happened. But for me personally, question is, would you like to see Mandy Rose back in the WWE? Me personally, I would. I'd love to see Mandy back.
Well, yes, of course. Of course, I'd like to see Mandy Rose. I thought, in all honesty, the run that she was on at NXT showed that she was a box office commodity and somebody who you could bank on, quite literally. She was the longest reigning NXT champion. That's not just because she looked good, right? It's because she was able to put on compelling stories, good matches. She had the best matches of her career when she was in NXT. She never worked at that level on the main roster that I can remember. And she got an opportunity to really hone her craft and become a character. Before, when she was on the main roster, I felt that she was just kind of she was a pretty face in a lot of ways. Is how she was utilized, right? But then when she got to NXT, that character developed, and then she led the Toxic Attraction, and it was all box office. And I, although understood and still understand why the powers that be made the decision that they made, and I'm not saying that I disagree with that decision either. However, I see the appeal of having Mandy Rose on your roster. That's a piece that you can always go to. Like, hey man, we can get Mandy in this story. Boom, we can do something out of it. You know what I mean?
That's a piece you can always go to. Oh yeah, yeah. Did you? You didn't mean to say it like that. I imagine.
Give us some Roni, brother. Oh yeah.
I just caught that, man. I don't know. You said it. I didn't say it. You could have phrased that differently, okay? But you didn't. You said it's a piece you can always go to. That's what you said.
And if you find the tenderoni that is right for you.
Oh man, no, Mandy, she get my vote. I'm getting back in the WWE. Like I say, I really feel like that was a situation. There again, she put herself in that something could happen, and it did. I don't know if it was something that she wanted to happen or something like that. I don't know if it was just pushing the envelope. I don't know what it was, but it seemed like it just came out of the blue. It seemed like it came out of nowhere. That's why for me, for Mandy, hopefully to get another shot, another run in the WWE main roster, NXT. I really don't care. I just hope she get a chance to get back in there and prove that man, she still got this, man. She still can be one of the best. She
definitely can be. Well, we'll see. I mean, look, and the thing is, they've released people before and they bring them back all the time, and like, who's a great example of that? And it's not anywhere near the same situation or the reason for the release. But Zelina Vega, remember they let go Zelina. She was gone.
It was a TikTok thing though, right? I mean,
I think it was a Twitch.
Yeah, Twitch. Yeah.
But she didn't want to give up the Twitch or whatever the story was at the time. But then they bring her back and she just had the biggest match of her career, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like business never gets in the way.
Yeah, I can see that door opening, and hopefully it will. Seriously.
And I'm surprised. Like, I saw for the first time the Warrior documentary, the Ultimate Warrior documentary they did for A&E.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it back in the day. And
they buried him. They buried him.
Well, not that one. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Not the hit job.
Not the self-destruction DVD.
Oh, the latest one.
The latest one.
Oh, yeah. No, that was pretty good.
That self-destruction one was crazy.
Yeah.
Like when I look back at it, it's wild. But this latest one, it was the first time I watched it. And I guess I just never realized how many times they let him go and brought him back. Let him go and brought him back. But in defense of the Warrior, man, I don't know. That pop he got when his music hit at SummerSlam when he went and beat Honky for the title, Honky Tonk. That was a huge pop, man. And it's probably one of the greatest moments in SummerSlam history. It was 38 seconds. The Warrior had it all, really, as far as the look and the entrance and the connection with the people.
Yeah, but he had it all and he lost it all.
And he lost it. The funniest part of the documentary, the funniest part, I guess he did something where he ran into a kid at an airport and wasn't really nice to the kid and, told him to go F off or whatever. And the kid's parents happened to know Vince McMahon.
Oh, he had to shoot that promo.
And he had to shoot the apology video.
Yeah.
And the behind the scenes of Vince talking him through it was so funny. Warrior gets into character. The power of the Warrior. What am I doing this for, man? What am I doing this for? And Vince goes, it's a work. It's a effing work. All right, just apologize in character. It's a work. And Warrior was so pissed. He was so pissed. I don't even know what I'm doing this for.
Oh my God.
What am I apologizing for? What am I doing this for? It's an effing work.
I remember that he has white boots on, Warrior style. I remember that. Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Oh my God, man.
It's hilarious, man.
Crazy times, man. Crazy times.
But they brought him back because it was good business. That's all I was saying.
When you making money like that, man, when you putting behind the seats there again, you selling pay-per-views. The arenas are sold out, fans are going crazy, merchandise. It's power, bro. It's power anywhere in the world. I know we got a few super chats. Let's get to them.
We do. Let me get to the next one. This is from Kappa Owen.
Super chat.
Brad Book, who you with? Seth Rollins or old TNA veteran AJ Styles? They're going to be clashing at the Night of Champions for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I feel like you do it. I feel like it's Seth. I feel like it's Seth.
I don't know, man. I mean, it could be either one of these guys. You know, I can't discount AJ because, you know, he hadn't been in that picture in quite a while. And for AJ to be the guy to win that title first, not being a WWE original, it'll be huge. It'll be huge. Seth Rollins, of course, everybody, you know, the odds-on favorite, I think, is Seth. You know, I think we've said that since the outset, as far as, you know, who should be the one candidate who should perhaps win this thing. We, you know, I think you and I both agreed it was Seth Rollins. But I didn't see AJ in the equation.
True.
I didn't look at AJ as being, you know, the guy, you know, opposite Seth Rollins. I didn't look at that at all. And for me, both of those guys are capable of going out there and stealing the damn show, no doubt. But both of those guys, you know, are capable of, you know, being the first, you know, newly crowned world heavyweight champion as well.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think that this is one of the few times that I think that you find yourself in a situation like this, that no matter who wins, one, the audience isn't upset, and two, everybody wins. Do you know what I mean?
Since I don't know, you can refresh my memory. When the last time, you know, Seth Rollins and AJ wrestled?
I'm sure it's happened.
It's had to have happened,
but I don't remember.
It seemed like it has been so long ago. It seemed like these guys have never met before.
It almost does feel that way.
That's what it seems like to me, especially because AJ like been quiet for the last year and a half, pretty much. And now AJ, we know what AJ can do in the middle of the square circle. We know AJ is top flight as far as one of the best guys that ever put on a pair of boots. We know that. We know that this match could be a 10 anywhere in the world. So that right there, having AJ in this match really makes it compelling to me.
So I agree with you. The last time they actually wrestled was on the March 21st edition of Monday Night Raw in 2022. The reason why I don't think I remember that is because that was when Seth was doing the story that he wanted a match at WrestleMania and he couldn't get a match. He was wrestling someone every week for an opportunity to, you know, get a match at WrestleMania.
Yeah, but like I said, it didn't have any significance.
No, I agree. I don't remember it at all.
There was no angle.
No.
This, like I said, it feels like AJ and Seth Rollins to me for the first time. And for the world title, man, that just makes the stakes that much higher. So I'm loving, you know, both of these guys being in this matchup. We got to take a break, though. We got to take a break. Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
How well do you think you know your wrestling? I prepared some trivia questions right here for you. So let's go and take a look. How was that? I hope you did well. Now let's throw it back over to Brad and Booker for the Hall of Fame.
Shup! Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We just, you know, filling out a few super chats. Brad, let's keep it rolling, dog.
All right. Our next one is from Capo once again. Who says, Brad Bookman, what are your thoughts on Bray Wyatt? Story came out today that Bray Wyatt's no longer listed on the internal rosters. I have no idea if that's true, false, or in between. We haven't seen Bray since right before WrestleMania when he kind of was working that angle with Bobby Lashley and then disappeared for whatever reason it is. I don't think we ever found out. What do you think about it, Book? I would like to say that myself, along with most other wrestling fans, felt this well built up return. Great, excellent build for the return. There hasn't been a lot of juice left in that squeeze.
A lot of juice left in that squeeze.
Made sense when I said it.
I
The
like
phrase is juice is worth the squeeze.
juice. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
squeeze the juice is better.
Yeah. Not a lot of squeeze left in that
The
juice.
juice,
Whatever I
yeah.
said.
That's what. That's better.
Left in that squeeze.
Picking up some new quotes here.
Hey man, I'm trying to give you
Man,
some material.
Get his quote book together. Oh man, but Bray Wyatt is I don't know, man. You know, it's hard to put a finger on what Bray Wyatt has been since he's been back. You know, you remember what we talked about when Bray first came back, and I said, only way this thing is gonna work is Bray evolve into a regular person. Let's say this Firefly Funhouse thing and the magic, you can only take it so far, because one thing about this business, the fans are looking to see a good match. That's what this business has been predicated on since day one. Storylines has always been great, but the payoff, you can. The Undertaker's career wouldn't have lasted 30 years if he wasn't a hell of a performer.
Yeah.
I mean, the show, the darkness, the smoke, the flashlight. You know, back in the day, that you had to bring a real lighter. You know what I mean? Then it evolved to the cell phone. You know what I mean? Do you think the Undertaker could have gone through all of that, those eras, decade after decade after decade, if he wasn't a hell of a performer in ring?
No.
Big Foley. You think people would have bought Big Foley just being a guy that just jumped off stuff if he wasn't the guy that compelled you when you watched him?
Right.
He was willing to die in the middle of that ring. He was like Evel Knievel. That was the most compelling thing about watching Mick Foley, because he was going to do something, death defying. You know what I mean? So I think that's the problem that Bray Wyatt has had, being that magical creature and not being able to go out there and have, I wouldn't even call them 5-star matches or anything like that, but just really good matches.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's held, Bray Wyatt back more than anything. And has he had that opportunity to go out and have those kind of matches? I think he's worked some good enough guys to be able to go out and have some memorable matches to where you go, not only is he one-dimensional, two-dimensional. Oh man, this guy's three-dimensional. He takes you everywhere. That's what I mean when I talk like that. It's just like Elias. Let's take Elias for a second. I'm not trying to get away from Bray.
Yeah.
But I say Elias, I say, man, you got the body. I say, master your singing and your guitar, touch. So when you do go out there, you really are doing a mini concert. And then, oh man, but you got to still be able to go out there and work and perform. And can you imagine having all of that in one? Star, baby, that Star. I said, man, when you're not here, you're doing a concert somewhere. You're making money. I'm serious, So it's like, I think that's what's missing with Bray. Bray has never had a chance to really show if or is he three-dimensional.
I agree with pretty much everything that you said.
Hell yeah.
I would
Give us some Roni, brother. Oh yeah.
I'm just giving it to you straight. I know they're gonna pick this up on the sites and try to make it sound like something I didn't say, but I'm just saying, Bray Wyatt has never really had a chance to show us, if he's a really good worker, how good of a worker he really is.
I know I have more to say on this subject, but however, we got about 7 super chats in about 6 minutes.
Do it.
So let's just move them on through. Next one is from Callie again. How is Roman just in a tag title match? On top of everything, he'll probably win it. I'd rather see KO and Sammy go against the Street Profits or Dom and Damian Priest. Yeah, so he's competing for the tag titles with Sikoa at the Night of Champions.
Night of Champions, man, those matches spectacles. I don't look at those matches like regular matches that we're going to be seeing over here on a regular basis or anything like that. So if it was here, it would be totally different than it is over there. That's a promotional tool. That right there is, all about giving those people what they want, pretty much. And if we could bring back the Ultimate Warrior, he'll be there too.
100%. Let me go on to the next one. We just got to do quick answers on these. This is from Ross Ferguson. Booker T, who trained you and who are your influences?
And I got knowledge from a guy by the name of 𝐒𝐞𝐞𝐝. He didn't teach me anything about wrestling moves or anything like that. He just taught me psychology and why things were done the way they should be done. I went to Ivan Putski's wrestling school, but influences, probably my biggest influence in this business, my guy who mentored me when I got to WCW, and that was my man, Ron Simmons.
And it's actually Ron Simmons' birthday today, so happy birthday to Ron Simmons.
Yes.
This is from Cap Owen. Since my girl Lacey Evans seems to be off on some secret military mission, we could use Mandy Rose back. Toxic Attraction needs her back, definitely. Even though they're not a team anymore, we could definitely use Mandy Rose on the roster.
Yes, indeed, man. I agree with everything right there. And when I say everything, I mean everything.
All right. Our next one here is from John Amazing, who said, Book, in your prime, which current star would you have loved to create magic with like you did with Stone Cold?
In my prime, talking about somebody current on the roster today. I don't know, man. I always talk about Roman. I always give Roman that prop, but I don't know. Maybe I think I would have wanted to hook up with Logan Paul and test that kid and see, if he's built for this business. Maybe Logan Paul.
Logan Paul and you could have a great match. Really physical match.
Yeah, I will whoop his. Yeah.
Say it.
I'm just saying.
And it is funny because they said prime and he has the prime drink. Ross Ferguson said, I'm sorry to ask you again. Oh, well, we already answered that one, Ross. Big Breezo said, how do you feel about star ratings in general for matches?
You know what? I mean, I agree with star ratings. I don't mind, a 5-star rating if a match is 5 stars. But that kind of stuff is always up for interpretation. You know what I mean? It's always going to be your perspective, the way you see it, what you look at in wrestling, especially today. Today's wrestling is a whole lot different than it was yesterday, and the fans look at it totally different as well. You know what I mean? A 5-star back then, Steamboat and Savage may not be a 5-star match to the fans today.
Right. It's interesting how they change over time because you could show a kid the greatest movie ever made, Godfather Part 2 today, and they'd be like, this movie's boring.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
So
that's up for
trash.
It's up for interpretation as far as a 5-star match. Steamboat Savage to me every time's a 5-star match. Every time, every single time I watch it, and it never gets old. So I'm just saying,
it's an incredible match, by the way. If y'all have never seen it, go for it. Virgil Dawkins said, Booker, why don't you get the respect you deserve, especially considering your 98 to 2001 WCW run? I see you in the same conversation as HBK and Eddie Guerrero.
Well, I think I get the respect. I got 2 Hall of Fame rings. Ain't too many people got that. Ain't too many people reached the level that I've reached in this business. I think my respect is it's what I said. It really is. I don't know too many guys in the business that, have the respect that I have, in this business. I really don't, so I really feel like I didn't just get the respect. I earned it. I took it. You know what I mean? So, that's up for one's opinion, but I think I'm very well respected. I think I get my just due as well.
I think so. But I will agree with this.
It should be paying me more though. It should be paying me more.
Well, we can always make more, brother. I will say that you've gotten more respect as time has gone on.
Oh,
Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Like in the last 5 years, I feel like your name's like in more conversations than it was the 5 years prior to that.
Wrestling put me in a position, man. It was a tool. I used that tool and I parlayed that success into what I do now. Like we say, when we go to the boxing matches, I'm more known than most of the boxers. You know, the boxers want to hang out and get photos with me. I was just hanging out with Mayweather Sr. not too long ago, and they want to hang out with me. So that, you know, my thing is, man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be in this position that I'm in. But it came with a lot of hard work, sacrifice, trial, and tribulation, no doubt. Don't think that it just happened by the slippage of the old banana peel. It did not. Or by osmosis. Oh, no. It didn't work like that.
Right. Well, Book, look, we got to send them home. We've had a hell of a show.
It's been a hell of a show, man. I want to thank all the super chatters, man, everybody in the comment section, man. We appreciate you guys for stepping inside the Hall of Fame. Get your champagne wishes, caviar dreams. Bradley, as always, man, appreciate you, man, for all the heavy lifting here inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Same place, same time, next time, here inside the Hall of Fame. But right now, peace. I love you. We out.